President Akufo-Addo has been talking extensively about Ghana's challenging economic times. On two separate occasions, whilst on his Eastern Regional tour, he urged Ghanaians to have faith in him as he is confident to turn around Ghana's economic fortunes. He explains that measures he's instituted and a deal with the International Monetary Fund will bring the ailing economy back to a resilient path.
How Ghana for from say Akayinano. Nyakupon bemma me kwan me de famu e magana so unity to the mestre munye jije wo mi mu ya be ye be famu this too shall pass na ba ne say no kakra me kanu an say yembo modi nyina yembo e ma asdik me de abache bia etumi tumpon pa na adwuma osofo panyi bisapanansi dia sayensa siembo modern yemma ne ntrɛtrɛ no yenye nyina yefo ya hode and.
So are the words of the president reassuring enough in the wake of the depreciation city, concerns of high interest rate and inflation and the associated effects on the economy and general well-being of the populace? Well, fiscal policy analyst with Oxfam, Dr. Alex Mpabin, joins me via phone for a conversation on the back of this. Dr. Mpabin, are the words of the president assuring enough in these difficult times?
Good afternoon. Well, it is a reassuring statement, but its impact at this time is very minimal. The reality is that there's limited trust in the government by investors and the business community. Currently, there's dented demand in Ghana's sovereign bonds, and most investors have now repatriated their matured investments or have sold off existing ones. The fear gripping people on a proposed debt restructuring and the uncertainty about the format it will take and the debts likely to be affected are some of the key areas I believe people are concerned about. Yes, it is good that the president accepts the reality on the ground, and hopefully we can start with some of the things that we are able to control, those that are within our means. Fiscal discipline. Recently, you heard of the traders, goods are reaching an agreement with the government to have a fixed exchange regime at the port in order to enhance their profitability or their operation, to ease the burden. These are good measures within our means we can take, but the reality is that people's confidence in the economy is very much shattered.
Right. Now, the president lists structural measures like food security, industrial development, and expansion, increasing exports, planting for food and jobs, 1D, 1F, digitalization as basis. What are your bases of these indicators in turning around the economy?
Well, there's no doubt that the structure of the economy is key contributor to where we are today. Ghana's reliance on exporting raw materials and importing finished products contributed to the country's persistent demand for and less supply of foreign currencies. Ghana is an import-dependent economy, and because of this, the country continues to buy foreign currency to meet its imported demands. With less supply of foreign exchange from its exports, sometimes the country has to resort in the international capital market, for which at this point we are not having access for the obvious reasons we are all aware of. There are times when the country has actually enjoyed a net gains in our exports, but these are just for paper. The reality is that investors or the exporters, most of whom are multinationals, who bring about the net gains, end up repatriating their profits abroad. And the retention law we have in the country isn't strong enough to stop this from happening. Yes, structural measures like the 1D, 1F, digitization of our economy, are all going to influence policy. It is good that as a policymaker you get to know who is where, who is doing what, even for your revenue generation exercises. So yes, 1D, 1F can definitely have an impact in our foreign exchange in the long term,
right,
as we be adding value creation. But I think that is for long-term conversation. It is good we all rally behind that. It's definitely the way out. Even after IMF, we still need a very strong economy, for which I think adding value to it and digitizing the economy is key. So here, yes, I do agree with the president on those measures.
Right. Speaking of IMF, to what extent can a deal with the International Monetary Fund take us out of this crisis?
Interesting. IMF will offer an immediate response. Yes, but in the long term, we need to push with our industrialization agenda, the value creation to enhance our earnings and exports. There should be deliberate policy to support local businesses. IMF, yes, will bring that kind of, not only the loan we are going to get, but also there's that element of policy credibility. And IMF coming in means their sister organizations are like World Bank and all other key sister institutions will definitely be in Ghana. Investor confidence will now restored. So the possibility of government defaulting on government bonds will go down, and people will definitely have confidence in the economy. So yes, IMF will offer maybe a short-term solution, but I think the long term, we need to do our homework. We tackle corruption, we enhance the domestic revenue, and crucially, we become more fiscal disciplined.
Right. Dr. Ampabin, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.